Welcome to another video. It's been a while, so we're back. Um, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about the lunar eclipse and the solar eclipse and the deeper esoteric meaning of both of them. Um, they're obviously tied to astrology and they're also tied to astronomy. So, the lunar eclipse is when there is a perfect alignment between the moon and the sun, that the moon is blocked by the sun. That's what's called a lunar eclipse. So something, so the moon represents the emotions, right? The moon represents your internal world, your subconscious, and the subconscious is what stores memory. It's what stores information, um, and it what stores experiences. So when you have a lunar eclipse, all that baggage of things that have been stored, it's like a revolving door. Like you have to see it like you're in a spaceship, within um a vast amount of space, and the garbage, the things that are no longer needed, the residue, what I mean, that is no longer needed, is pretty much flushed out into oblivion. So that's the same thing with lunar eclipse. It's like something emotional that was a heavy weight in your life is flushed out and it's replaced with something else. Now that could be for better or for worse, because obviously some people, when it comes to lunar eclipse, it might be an emotions that was flushed out in terms of um an experience that was weighing them down. Things of stagnation, things of resentment, and things like that. So it might be that's a good way of a lunar eclipse. A bad experience of lunar eclipse is, you having this high, emotional high, and then being met with a catastrophic event or a very depressing situation. That's when you have a negative lunar eclipse, where a former emotion that was of confidence and of passion is replaced with insecurities or doubt or sadness or depression. So lunar eclipse goes both ways, but it's pretty much it's an emotion. It's a revolving door of emotions. So if you have certain things being contained, it revolves into something else. That is flushed out in something new is birth. So that's what lunar eclipse are. They're pretty much birthing stages, um within the astronomical sphere and the astrological sphere, which goes on within and outside of you. So yeah, that's pretty much lunar eclipses. Usually it's also very sudden. You know what I mean? It's usually an experience that brings a sudden emotional clarity or emotional depthness. You know what I mean? So it goes both ways when it comes to lunar eclipses. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much lunar eclipses in terms of, yeah, the moon is blocked by the sun. You know what I'm saying? So your emotion, and also it depends on what type of lunar eclipse is, because there's different phases of the moon. So this one was almost like a full moon, pretty much. Yeah, it was a full moon lunar eclipse. So it was something that was very emotionally felt. Whatever you've been emotionally felt has been very deep, because full moon is very, it's fulfillment. It's abundance. So whatever emotions has been very abundant, whether good or bad, was flushed out for something new. That's lunar eclipse. And then we got solar eclipse. Solar eclipse is has to do with the physical body, while lunar eclipse has to do with the internal body, aka your subconscious mind. You know what I mean? Solar eclipse has to do with the physical body. So the physical body going through regeneration, renewal. So whether it's your physical appearance, your actual physical body, you might be sometimes people go through pregnancy during solar eclipses. Some people have weight loss or weight gain. You know what I mean? Because it has to do with your physical body, so it has to do with a transformation. Um, so yeah, because that's what eclipses are. There, something is taken away, and something is killed, and then something new is birthed. That is transformation. So that's what eclipses are all about. Whether you're ready for it or not. Um, what else? Yeah, solar eclipses has to do with your physical body. So you might suddenly change your hair. You might suddenly injure yourself and have a bruise. That's a form of solar eclipses. It's still a form of transformation in terms of your physical body. So, like I said, it could be for better or for worse. The better part is having your body being changed, in terms of you being healthier. having new habits, because the solar eclipse is in Virgo. The lunar eclipse was in Pisces. Also, it's very important what sign the lunar eclipse and solar eclipse is in, because it gives a more in-depth information on what is being eclipsed out of your life. So having lunar eclipse in Pisces, Pisces has to do with, emotions. It has to do with your subconscious. It has to do with isolation. It has to do with your what you do behind closed doors, things like that. Um your emotional state and your emotional flow, because it's mutable. So the way your emotional flows, all these type of things is Pisces. Any form of emotion that you have that is tied to something was flushed out for something new. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is. You had a new reality, whether for better or for worse. You had a new perception of something. That's what the lunar eclipse was. And it was a new feeling to your reality, because Pisces has to do with reality. It has to do with the subconscious, which is a form of reality, just not a physical one. So yeah, that's very important. Um, so yeah, the lunar eclipse had that flushed out and birthed something new. So now you have a new reality, you have a new emotions, you have a new creativity, you know, you have a new subconscious mind, you have a new way of storing information. And then we have solar eclipse in Virgo. So you have this is sixth house. This has to do with your habits, your routine, your health, your service, so your diet, what I mean, things like that. Things you do on a day to day, your you know what I mean, like things like that. Um, yeah, the way you critique yourself, the way you analyze things. There's a physical transformation from that. So you might have a new job with solar eclipses. You might have a new way of servicing your body. So, like I said, exercising, doing yoga, meditation, things like that. Solar eclipses, your body, like I said, might go through transformation where you might start to gain more muscles or gain more fat. You know what I mean? Or you might be pregnant. Um, or you might be injured. You might have injured yourself. Now you cannot walk properly, so you might have to take a wheelchair. Or um, maybe something happened to your eyes where your eyes is damaged. Now you need glasses. You know what I mean? Some form of physical transformation is happening with solar eclipses in Virgo. So there's a way of you doing things on a day to day level in a different way. You know what I mean? It's a different job. It's a different exercise. It's a different habit. It's a different routine. It's a different discipline, and it's taking a transformation. So that's pretty much what solar eclipses are. Yeah, especially in Virgo. So it's very important that within these portals of eclipses, especially lunar eclipses, you're using that to cleanse your mind and birthing a new form of emotion, a new form of internal connection and internal creativity. While your solar eclipse is pretty much, your lunar eclipse is pretty much getting you ready. You're emotionally replenishing yourself to get ready to physically do what you're going to physically do during your solar eclipse. So your lunar eclipse is to prepare yourself mentally and emotionally, and then your solar eclipse is to physically carry out um that plan that you want to commit to. So that's pretty much what solar eclipses are. It's pretty much the universe giving you the time to plan and do things in alignment, and it gives you a second chance in doing something and renewing yourself, renewing your emotions, renewing your physical body. You know what I mean? So it's very important that you're in alignment with um, the universal rhythm, so you can be able to utilize these things for your benefit, and also to empower yourself um, in a more healthier way. You know what I'm saying? So that's very important. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much the video. Hope you guys gained something new with lunar eclipses and solar eclipses. I'll just quick give a rundown. Lunar eclipse has to do with the emotions, the moon, so your subconscious. So certain things are emotionally eclipsed out of your soul, and you're emotionally more freer to emotionally tie yourself to more healthier things. Now, sometimes that lunar eclipse can also be something that might be catastrophic, you know what I mean, and very depressive. So you want to try your best to be aligned so that you can be more on the better side of empowering yourself emotionally. and subconsciously. And also for solar eclipse, that is a physical transformation, a physical where something physically is eclipsed out of your life and replaced with something else. And you want to do that in a more healthier way, where you're eating healthier, your routine, your habits, and discipline. Everyone has their own unique routine and habit and discipline. So I don't want to make a general statement, but whatever you feel like is healthy for you, and you feel like is what makes you comfortable as your habit, that is what you need to tend to. You know what I'm saying? And that should be your transformation. So everyone has their own unique way of transforming themselves physically, also, and utilizing this solar eclipse for their own benefit. But yeah, guys, that's the video. Hope you guys get something new. And until next time, I'll catch you soon.